today's project. Altered lunch tins. Gorgeous card organizers. Things that you'll need for this project. A Provocraft lunch tin. Available at most arts and crafts stores, such as Michael's. You can also get them online directly from Provocraft. You will need one sheet of 12 by 12 double-sided Designer Series Stampin' Up! Craft paper, or you can get 2 sheets of single-sided coordinating papers. You'll also need some sticky strip or some double-sided tape from the dollar store. Several sizes helps, especially the thin one. You'll also need a foam brush or a sponge. You need some nice sharp scissors. You need some craft paint, available again at Michael's, Walmart, those types of places. You need a paper trimmer to cut your Designer Series paper in your cardstock. You'll need 1 sheet of cardstock, 2 if you're going to cut out the letters, and you'll also need a little bit of scrap cardstock of a neutral color. I suggest something like white. You'll need embellishments such as ribbons, flowers, brads, and your die-cut letters, and you can also use a sanding block or sandpaper if you want to distress the tin a little bit. For your Designer Series paper, you will need 2 strips of 12 inches by 2 inches and 2 strips of 12 inches by 2.5 inches. For your 8.5 by 11 cardstock, you will need to cut out 3 4¼ by 6 3/4 strips of paper for your tab. If you cut the 4¼ out of the 11-inch length first, then you will easily be able to cut the 6.5 by 8.5 piece of paper remaining into 4¼ strips. You will have a 1-inch piece of paper left over, or a couple-inch piece of paper, to which you will need to cut out 3 1¼ circles. Then you will need your white paper and cut out 3 1-inch circles, and whatever scraps you have left to cut out your letters. Now you have to let it dry. Okay, so we're going to leave our tin with the paint aside to dry. It's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how thick the paint is that you put on. In the meantime, we're going to make some tabs to go on the inside, and we're going to get some of the stuff ready to go on the outside. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take some double-sided pattern paper, and we want to cut 4 strips out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So we're going to have 2 that are 2.5 and 2 that are 2 inches. And you can decide if you want to have them go like this, or if you want to have them go like this. So it's up to you which design you want to be the 2.5 and which side you want to be the 2. Once you decide which one's going to go on top, if you're going to have the thinner strip or the thicker strip on top, you need to cut out, make a little template for the front of the tin and cut it out. So I've got that here, and I'm going to take it roughly to the center of my paper, put it along the top. Take some really nice sharp craft scissors. Secondly, I'm going to make some index tabs for the center that we can put birthday, thank you, whatever we need. So I've cut 3 strips out of an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And basically what I did to get all 3 out of one sheet, let's imagine your paper kind of goes like this. I cut the bottom off first at 4 1/4 inches, and then I took the remaining paper, which was this, and cut it at half, 4 1/4 inches. And I believe this is 6 1/2? I'm not actually sure. 6 1/4, I guess. So I cut that part off, and that left me with this little strip. And this is what I'm going to use for the tabs. I'm going to cut 3 1 1/4 inch circles out of this. This is just dollar store double-sided tape. Glue sticks work fine too. I just find them to be very messy. So I'm just going to put a little bit on on the bottom bit of one of the orange circles, like that. And I'm going to take a tab, and I'm going to put it sticking up like that. And I'm going to take the white circle, put a little piece of sticky strip, do a little at the back. So this is just a really thin double-sided tape. And I'm going to center it over the circle. So I've got my 3 tabs. So the next thing I'm going to do while I'm still waiting for my box to dry is I'm going to make the word cards. So I've got my C stamp, and I'm inking it up with chocolate brown ink, so very similar to the paint I'm using. I've got a little piece of white cardstock that's just a bit bigger than my C. Stamp it in the middle, or as close as I can. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to run the edges through the chalk, or the ink rather, just to get some of that color. Now I'm ready to stick this with some double-sided tape. And center that on the orange cardstock. Now you notice my C is kind of crooked. That's okay. I don't like to be straight. I think handmade things need to be a little bit different. If you want it all perfect from a machine, you buy a Hallmark product. I'm going to add a little metal spring from the Hodgepodge hardware kits. It's just basically a decorative paper clip. Just to add a little decorative element to it. Okay, so I've got my Big Shot, and I've got some Sizzix, the Fun Serif lowercase font. And I'm going to put the A, R, and D right next to each other. I've got a strip of paper that runs just about the same length. I'm going to set it on top. Make my sandwich. Push it in. Turn my handle. Not quite perfect. Went right on the edge of it, but you know what? It looks good enough for me. Now I'm going to put the S in, and I'm just going to put it in between in one of these spaces here. Make my sandwich again. And now I've got my S. Okay, so I'm going to use just more of the dollar store double-sided tape. Comes in 3 different widths. I've got the thinnest one that's great for my ribbon, and I've got a thick one that's going to be good for my paper. Also want to note at this point, you're going to be putting ribbon through the center and along the top. So that's going to cover up any imperfections if the paper comes a little high on the lip or a little low. And also you can always put ribbon along the bottom too. So if you end up getting a spot that's too big at the paper or not quite lined up the way you want, you can cover it up with ribbon at the end. So I picked an old olive green, which I know goes perfectly with this paper, not only because I can match it up and tell that it goes good, but also in the Stampin' Up! Catalogs, underneath all of the Designer Series paper packs, it shows all of the coordinating colors. So it's easy to get markers, ink, paper, and ribbon that go along with it. So I'm going to cut some that are the right length for my needs. Just kind of measuring them up on the box here. Making sure to always leave myself a little extra. It's always better to have too much than not enough. For the middle ribbon, I'm going to take a few pieces of sticky strip and put it in the center part of the ribbon. I'm only going to peel off one piece right now, figure out where the center of the ribbon is. And then I'm going to decide, do I want a little knot on one side or the other side? If I want one on one side, I'm going to put the middle of my ribbon on the opposite side on the back. And voila! Your box is pretty much finished. All you have to do is write the cards on the front, put your tabs inside, and start making greeting cards to put in the inside. These make a fabulous gift as well.